Yeah, hi there. These comments are for AA. This is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at Stealth, the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. So, you completed my integrated writing practice test number 9. Thank you. And I got good and bad news. The good news is, you understand how to organize your response, I think. The bad news is you're just not getting the main points from the listening passage. So I think that's really your biggest issue, is you're leaving out some of the most important points from the listening passage. Okay, so let's go right down to it. I think the weakest part of your response is the third paragraph. Let's read what you say. You say, listening section reported the hybrid cars doesn't save too much gas because it takes more miles per gallon. And that's in direct contrast to the claim made in the reading that hybrid cars save gas, right? However, that's not really what was said in the listening passage. I think the main thing that the listening was pointing out is that gas engines can also provide competitive miles per gallon with the hybrid vehicles. And I think the listening passage, it gives the example of the 2013 Volkswagen TDI that can get up to 43 miles per gallon. The listening passage also gives a second example. It talks about the Ford that has an EcoBoost engine that can get 20% better fuel efficiency. I think the whole point is it was trying to say that gasoline-powered cars are becoming more and more competitive in their gas mileage to the hybrid cars. I think that was the point, and unfortunately you didn't bring that point out in that third paragraph. Now, let's go to the next idea. You say, second, hybrid cars save the environment, but not too much because it produces a small amount of emissions. Unfortunately, that's not what was said in the listening passage. Let's examine it a little more closely. In the listening passage, it says, I think the point is hybrids, AA, they do have a reduction in emissions because they're not using as much fuel. That's true. But the listening passage says, and this is the key point that you didn't say, electricity needs to be used in order to produce hybrid cars. In fact, it says, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the burning of coal, natural gas, and oil for electricity is the largest single source of global greenhouse gas. So because when they manufacture the hybrids, they need to use the electricity to manufacture them, and the electricity is actually coming from the fossil fuels, and the fossil fuels creates pollution for our environment. That was the point I think the listening passage was trying to point out. In other words, instead of saying what you said, it takes more miles per gallon, it says save the environment but not too much. You have to say that the hybrid cars, because they use electricity to manufacture them, they don't save the environment as much as we think they do. Now, your last idea in the listening, you say the battery is weight and save 2,500. That means it is a dangerous car. You're trying to get at the idea, but you're just missing the key points from the lecture. So let's take a look at what it says in the listening. It says two different things about the battery technology. Number one is it makes the car heavier, and because it makes the car heavier, the car may not get the gas mileage that they say they get. So that was one criticism from the lecture. Now the second criticism says is the battery, if it has to be replaced, it may erase all the savings, all the gas savings previously saved, because according to the listening passage, the battery is actually quite expensive. Alright, so now let's take a look at the rubrics. If we take a look at the IBT rubrics, and I will put those in this YouTube video in the description box so you can click on them, you're going to score in the 2 range on this one. Here's the problem. It says your response demonstrates a misunderstanding, or you have omitted the connection between the lecture and the reading passage. You've left out important information from the lecture. That's really your biggest issue with this one. You don't have a lot of language errors. You're just missing important information. So your score here, I'm going to put you at 2.0 out of 4 or 14 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. And for the purposes of our class, this is going to put you at, let me take a look at it, 64% out of 100 on this one. So what do? I think we've discovered, based on this practice test, that I think you got a big problem with your listening. So what you want to do is, if you want to improve, I know we have a final exam coming up, I would suggest that you spend a lot of time in the listening section of my course. That seems to be your weakness. You definitely understand how to organize your response. You're not having any problems there, but I think you're having problems getting the key points from the listening. So I have a lot of practice tests to help you with your listening. There's a lot of good lessons in the listening section of my course that I think you can begin to address these problems that you're having right now. Anyway, thank you for completing the practice test.